I want to apologize to the massive for letting these sucker ass niggas catch me out there like that. I talk about suckers, I'm talking about those who perpetrated to be either my friend, who were wearing wiretaps, who got on the stand and lied, man. I want to apologize to those that I let down for letting some suckers play me. And I just want you to know, man, that I didn't know. I just didn't know that these dudes was that jealous. That jealousy would allow them or make them do the things that they did. And it's almost like a sucker killed me, man. It's like I let a sucker come down on me, man, and beat me up and kill me, man. And this is the same feeling. It's almost like it's parallel together. And so I want to apologize to all those who have lost their life, dedicated their life to the game. I want to apologize to you for what I allowed to happen to me. I am very sorry. Trust you me.
Is it true, man, you smacked Jimmy Henchman's son, man?
Nah,
that's not true?
I don't smack kids, man. I got 2 kids myself, man. That's just a plot to get some money, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is, man. You know, the whole G-Not shit is, you know, Jimmy Henchman game, you know, G-Not on the DVDs, the shirts. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's just a plot to get some money, man. I don't smack little kids, though. You know what I mean?
Say your mom's house got shut up behind that or something?
Nah, I wouldn't say that they did that because that would be being dry snitching, saying this did that and they did this. You know what I mean? It's just that Tony Ayo's still in the streets, so when minor shit happen, like shoot up a window or a door, it's a big deal to the industry. But to me, it ain't nothing. Niggas shooting up windows and doors. You know what I mean? If a nigga really wanted to get at me, he'll wait for me to come to my mom's house and lay me down. You understand what I'm saying? So shooting up a window and door, that really don't count to me. And I'm not gonna say Jimmy Henchman did that. That could have been anybody. I got beef with anybody. He could have did that knowing that I got beef with him. Like he got beef with this, so we could go shoot up his mom's crib real quick. You know what I mean? Because I got beef with everybody.
All right.
You know?
Yo, what's up with it, gang? It's your boy Starstatus Chris back with another video breakdown. For today's video, I want to get into this war in NYC. Now, a lot of people haven't been talking about this whole G-Unit and Jimmy Henchman beef. I know it's old and it's kind of like, you know, when it's been years since everything has happened, so a lot of people don't really think about it as much, but it was a serious war that was happening in NYC with G-Unit and Jimmy Henchman. And if you don't know about Jimmy Henchman, man, he was a notorious gangster based in New York City. And not only was he a gangster in New York and like in the city of New York, but he was one of those guys that he even controlled the prisons. Like he had so much influence in the prison system that when he was in there, like if certain people wanted to touch certain people and, you know, violate certain people, they would have to go to Jimmy Henchman first to get that approval. So I just wanted to paint a picture of the person that, you know, that 50 Cent was dealing with at the time. We're talking about a very notorious gangster. So the whole war pretty much started behind the G-Unit and the game situation. A lot of people credit Jimmy Henchman with being the guy who got into the game's ear and pretty much told him like, yo, you don't need to be with these guys. You know, you're way bigger than anybody on G-Unit. You got, you know, a lot more talent that we can just take you to the West Coast and pretty much you can dominate that and we can spread, you know, your music in all these different other regions without the help of 50 Cent. And that's how they truly felt because, I mean, let's be honest, when the documentary did drop, it was an incredible album. You know, he already had Dr. Dre producing on the album. He already had hit singles, so, and he didn't really feel like Jimmy Henchman didn't really feel like they needed G-Unit at the time. So he pretty much put that bug in the game's ear, and that's when you saw the game start to, you know, separate himself from G-Unit and stop hanging out with the guys and pretty much got on the radio and let, you know, the radio personalities know that anything that, you know, any beef that they're going through with Fat Joe or any other guys in the industry, the the game is pretty much saying he was open to work with him and all that stuff, and he didn't have no beef with him. And that was all coming behind Jimmy. Jimmy was the money that financed that whole, you know, GU Not campaign, and pretty much like sent, I would say, I would accredit the game with pretty much, he gave 50 Cent his first L. So Jimmy Henchman was responsible for really handing 50 Cent his first L in like a beef situation so far as music. But it went outside the streets as well. Let's get into this Hot 97 radio thing. 50 Cent is doing an interview, and he pretty much let the New York City know, like, yo, we cutting Game off. He's no longer G Unit. And at the time, Jimmy Henchman was already in New York. The game was in New York, so they decided to go up there and press on 50 Cent outside of the radio station. Now, this is when you hear one of the game's people got shot. Nobody from 50 Cent's side got shot that day at the radio station. It was just one of the game's bodyguards, or I think maybe he wasn't a bodyguard, but he was just a homeboy from California. So that was the only person that actually got hit by gunfire that day. Now, let's fast forward to the Tony Yayo and Lodi Max situation. Now, I would say this is one of the most crucial parts of the whole beef, because this is when it really took things to a whole nother level, to the point where I think that Jimmy Henchman was pretty much looking to like really get rid of 50 Cent. And I'm not just saying just in the music industry, I mean actually like from this earth. Because one day Lodi Mac and Tony Yayo were, I guess, just outside of the G Unit offices or somewhere downtown NYC, and they see a kid, and I don't even know if they just knew it was a kid. It could have been they thought the kid was older than, you know, what he was at the time, but they seen see that he was wearing a Kazar Entertainment t-shirt, which is that's the record label of Jimmy Henchman, and they decide to approach him, and it's never really been confirmed who actually slapped the kid, if it was Tony Yayo or Lodi Mac, but one of the guys, you know, actually slapped him, and that's when, you know, things really went to a whole nother level, because now you're touching people's kids, you know. And if anybody has kids, or anybody who just, even if you have close family members, you know, if anybody starts to touch your family, that's when, you know, things just go to a whole nother level. So after this, Tony Yayo was pretty much, you know, on the hit list. That's when 50 Cent started really trying to protect Yayo and providing bulletproof cars for him to ride around in and all that stuff, because you're dealing with a notorious gangster when it comes to Jimmy Henchman. You're not dealing with just, you know, a rap guy or somebody who's just, you know, talking about it. You're dealing with somebody who has a long history of actually touching people. So you want to make sure you're taking all the proper precautions and really making sure that you're, you know, traveling right, in order to, you know, not be able to be in a situation where somebody can get the ups on you and actually, you know, assassinate you. And that's pretty much what Tony Yayo was doing. So, I mean, he was getting protected very well, because, I mean, he is under the G Unit umbrella. 50 Cent is his, you know, big homie, and he's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure he protects him. But they end up getting in trouble for this situation. Lodi Mac ends up going to jail because he pretty much takes the, now I don't know if he actually just took the blame in order to, you know, for Yayo not to go to jail, or he really, you know, actually slapped the kid, but he ended up going to jail, and Yayo received community service. Now, this is when things get more crazy, if you thought things couldn't get him in more crazy. So while Lodi Mac was in jail, he ended up befriending this guy who he became cool with in jail. And after he actually got out, him and the guy were still cool. But unbeknownst to Lodi Mac, the guy was in cahoots with Jimmy Henchman and was working to lure him to a place so he can actually do a hit for Jimmy Henchman for some money. This situation ended up happening. You can read about it online, where Lodi Mac was actually, you know, gunned down, and Jimmy Henchman was charged for this. So this is, you know, nothing that is, I'm not saying anything new. You can look up the court records. Jimmy Henchman, you know, pretty much put up the whole play to get Lodi Mac killed. So you can see how deep this whole situation and beef is going. And this all stems from the game with G Unit, leaving G Unit and hooking up with Jimmy Henchman, and pretty much letting Jimmy Henchman use him as a tool to get back at 50 Cent and whatever issues they had going on. It's also important to note that Tony Yayo was targeted probably a total of 2 or 3 times during this whole situation. Like, it was really plots to try to get him, you know, knocked off, but it just didn't happen, you know, for whatever reason. If you say, you know, it just was in God's plan for him not to go, because, you know, his mom's house got shot up and his Bentley got shot up. They actually thought he was inside the Bentley, but he was in the SUV behind it, and he pretty much watched them come up to the car and just gun down the whole side of the windows and everything. So it was times where Jimmy Henchman was really trying to get at Tony Yayo, but he just couldn't. So Lodi Mac ended up, you know, being the guy that they end up getting over to. And this is pretty much the reason why we'll probably never see 50 Cent be cool with the game or them ever link up. And that's why recently you see that 50 Cent has some harsh words to say about Michael K. Williams, because Michael K. Williams grew up with Jimmy Henchman, and he has went on record to defend Jimmy Henchman against 50 Cent online numerous of times. Just when 50 Cent would like come out and pretty much say that, you know, Jimmy was a rat or he got beat up in jail, then Michael would make a video pretty much saying that's not true. He talks to Jimmy every day. So you can see why 50 Cent wouldn't like a dude like that if he's trying to paint a certain scenario and you're pretty much knocking the credibility of that. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure to smash that like button to help this channel grow. Also, jump in that comment box below. Let me know if I missed anything or if there's anything you guys want to add. Signing out, your boy Starstatus Chris.